So this one time, I was going into Boston with my brother and sister, and I didn't really want to go at first, but I just kind of had to, just because my brother and sister are never really home. But I was not 21 yet, I was only 20, and they wanted me to drive, and I told them that I was not going to drive because they were just going to get hammered and have a good time, and then I'd just be stuck being the designated driver and not having a fun time at all. So I basically just sat there and was like, I'm not going, I'm not going, and then they finally convinced me that I didn't have to drive, so then I was like, okay, fine, I'll go. Maybe I'll get to have a little bit of fun for once. So we go into Boston, we explore the city a little bit, take some pictures, the usual touristy stuff. But then we got hungry, so we went to Dick's Last Resort. And for those of you guys who don't know, Dick's Last Resort is a bar or a restaurant where they get paid to just basically be dicks to you, and they're really rude. It can be really funny, but I just wasn't in the mood. But they sell 40 ounces, so my brother and sister had to get two of them each. Yep, a whole 80 ounces of beer later, we're still sitting there, and I'm just like irritated because one, I don't get to drink there, and two, I'm just like over this restaurant, I don't know. So anyway, we basically leave there, and I just want to go home, and then they suggested that they stop at a liquor store for me and get me like a little flask of Captain Morgan, so I was fine with that. I mean, if they wanted to go grab one more drink and then I just chill and have a flask, that's fine with me. So I just sat in a park with them for a little bit, and I just like had a couple sips. And then, I'm feeling a pretty good buzz. Then they got hungry again, and they were saying to me that I can go into this bar with them because it's 18 plus, but they put a stamp on your hand if you're 21 and over, so they know when to drink, or they know who's going to drink. So I'm basically sitting there, all fine with me. We get in line. I take one more sip, and then they go in, get a stamp on their hand, and when I go up to the thing, they check my ID, and then they go, ooh, sorry, you have to be 21 to be in here. And I'm like, are you serious? My brother and sister already went in there. So I basically tried to beg with the guy to get my brother and sister out of there, and my brother and sister were just telling me that they wanted one more drink. One more drink leads to another drink. I'm still sitting outside, so genius me tries to figure out how to sneak into the bar just so I can grab them and drag them outside. So I go around the back. There's a group of people back there. I'm not really sure. I walk closer, and I'm like, hey, how's it going? It's a group of homeless people, right? And then the homeless people are like, hey, what are you doing back here? And I'm like, I'm trying to sneak into this bar because my moron brother and sister are in there ditching me, and they're just drinking, and I'm not 21, so I can't have fun with them. So I'm just going to go in through the back door. And then the homeless people were like, you wearing a wire? And then they grabbed my shirt, and I was like kind of panicky real quick. I mean, it was sort of like a little aggressive. So I lifted up my shirt kind of laughing, and I was just like, no, I'm not wearing a wire. What the heck? That was pretty freaky. So I just kind of was like, see ya, and then just left the back of the bar altogether. I didn't even try to get in after that. I was just like, nope, I'm not trying to die. So I just sat out front, really, really, really mad. My brother and sister come out. My brother is shit-faced, and my sister is not wearing any pants. Literally. And the shirt that she had on, she put on a Dick's Last Resort shirt from the restaurant first because it's longer, so it just kind of looked like a long t-shirt dress type thing. So we're walking to the train. A homeless guy walks into my brother, and my brother's like, hey man, and then the homeless guy's like, want a sip of my drink? And my brother grabs it out of his hand and takes a sip, and I'm like, okay, what the heck is that? So I rip the bottle out of his hand, and I look at it, and it's a Listerine bottle, and I'm like, gross, do you know what you just drank? That's disgusting. So I pushed this bum away and was just like, why are all these people trying to poison us? I don't know. I was just freaking out. So we got to Government Center, got back on the T, and we're heading towards Riverside. Green Line, by the way, for anyone who cares. So we're driving back on the train, and then basically I decide to just scream at my brother and sister for being so selfish and moronic or whatever, but and everyone on the train, after we all started yelling, just kind of moved as far away from us as possible. Then my brother decides to lean over my sister and sucker punches me in the face. I was so pissed off at that point that I just stood up, flipped them off, backed up off the train. My brother and sister were following me, and then the door shut in their faces, so I got off and they were still stuck on the train. But they don't know what stop to get off at. But I mean, Riverside is the last stop, so I mean, I knew deep down that they would just stay on and then get off when like the last stop came around, which was our stop. But they didn't know that. So I get on the next train, and I ended up getting off at Riverside, walk up to the car. They're both standing outside of the car, wicked pissed off, and we basically just all started fighting. Fighting and yelling at each other so loud. This security guard came over. He was really nice, actually. I mean, he came up to us and was kind of understanding, but he was just like, "Why are you guys yelling? Why are you guys yelling at each other?" And so we all kind of just collectively told him as a group what happened. And then he began telling us how his sister died in Jamaica before he could go and see her. And the last thing that they did was have an argument. He went on for about an hour. I mean, oh my god, not an hour. That would have been ridiculous. He went on and just kept telling us how they were fighting and how much he totally, totally regrets not being able to see her before she died. He didn't really tell us how she died. I don't even know if he made it up, but regardless, we were all like sort of out of it, so we were just listening anyway. But the point of the story is that if something happened to us on the way home or anything like that, we would have regretted that. Or if something happened, we would have just like totally, totally been like overseen by this whole argument and fight that we were having throughout the day, just because of like pure selfishness and like wanting to like feel numb in a sense. And the way this guy was talking to us was just like, he basically made us all calm down before we left. And then when we were all leaving, we literally cried like the entire way home. I don't even know how to explain it. My sister was driving after she sobered up, by the way. We did not drive like under the influence of anything. We sat in the parking lot at Riverside for at least 2 hours beforehand, just in silence. But yeah, basically that's it. I mean, I don't really know how else to explain it, but that was just a ridiculous, ridiculous time, and we all learned a lot from it. I don't know what you learned from it by listening to me, but I learned a lot that day, and ever since that day, we haven't really had a big argument or done anything like that ever again. I think the guy had a real impact on us, so that's a good thing. But what I leave you guys with is that if you guys ever have a fight with any of your siblings or anything, yes, we fight. Yeah, we might hate each other in that one point, but it's family. And family is everything. They're the only people that will love you from, like, no matter what. So, I don't know. Just keep that in your pocket.